I suppose I should introduce myself, right? To be honest, it doesn't matter who I am. You're probably wondering why I decided to walk through a place so empty, so barren, and yet so beautiful. Well, growing up, I was always a golden child. I was feeling like I was never enough unless I made everybody else around me happy. Even if I wasn't. Yeah. I got good grades in school and college offers. But in the end, I never really felt like I was enough, and I never really bothered. I've never really fit in anywhere. I was always treated like an outsider, even at home. On the outside, we were a happy, hardworking family. But on the inside, there was a lot of anger, jealousy, lies, addictions, and negativity. It messed up my life, a lot of relationships, and many opportunities I had with people or could have had in general. First, it made me feel sad, but now I don't feel anything. I don't even attempt to be anything anymore. Every time I get close to someone, somehow I mess things up and they leave. I have a decent paying job. I have my own place, and I work out. No matter what I do, though, it's just not enough. I've slaved away enough. I decided to come here, hoping to find some answers. I made it to Japan. Very beautiful country. A rich, vibrant culture. And nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows what I am. The place I'm visiting now has been dubbed in other parts of the world as the Suicide Forest. People go missing here every day. Soon, I'll be one of them. But not being the most popular guy back at home can have its advantages. They won't know what I am. No one will be able to stop me. The land is what powers me, and people will walk in like platters being served. They don't know it, but all the pent-up emotions they carry, the sadness, the hatred, the sorrow, it's gonna draw me in like a shark to blood. I am
Wendigo. My hunger may be ravenous, but here I'll be well fed.
I'm making this post because I don't know where else to turn to. I'm from the UK and my family usually always book their holidays sometime after August has ended to avoid all the summer rush. We usually go away in around October time. Today's Halloween and it's just by pure coincidence that I'm writing this down today. But a few weeks ago, I went with my family to visit my uncle and cousins as part of our annual holiday. Let's just say my uncle had come into some money and he'd moved up to the coast and gotten a small yacht type boat. Something that I know he always wanted his entire life but was never able to afford. I've never really been out to sea before. I've only ever been on a small paddle boat within the safety parameters of the beach. But that's it. Even then, it was never that far out. I've always wanted to just go as far as possible out on the ocean. Far away from land until you can only see miles and miles of sea around you. Others may find this horrifying to think about. but for me it's almost tranquil. Anyways, despite my desire to go out to sea, one of the other reasons I agreed to go on this holiday was because my cousin, my uncle's daughter, would also be going. Me and her have always got on like a house on fire, and without her, it'd just be me, my parents, and my uncle. In my household, I'm the second youngest sibling, being 22 years old. My two older brothers and my older sister, they're all in their late 20s. Naturally, they're starting to branch out on their own and they stopped coming with us on holiday. I have a younger sister, baby. So, again, if it weren't for my cousin coming on holiday with us, it would just be me, parents, and my uncle. It would be a very boring trip of me just babysitting whilst my parents speak to my uncle. My uncle was a nice guy, don't get me wrong. I felt sorry for him ever since he lost his wife of 30-something years. You could tell he was a broken man inside, but bless him, he always put on a happy face when he was around us. Eventually, after a long drive up north of the country, we arrived at my uncle's. Arriving after being puked on several times by my younger sister. Brand new clean clothes and vomit. Just no. I didn't know until we arrived that my cousin had gone to university out of town and was swarmed with assignments. She had to cancel last minute. I could understand, but was so annoyed when I found out. Don't get me wrong, I love my uncle and my family, but he's one of those people that the conversation just dries up and becomes awkward once you've asked, "How are you? How's work? How's life treating you? Watched any good Netflix series lately?" My cousin was always one of those people who are more of a in-person kind of friend, so not much of a texter. So I had no inclination whether she was coming on the holiday or staying at college. So my worst fears had come true as we set sail for an overnight at sea on my uncle's yacht. Stuck babysitting while my parents chatted for hours with my uncle and started a barbecue on the open area of the boat. The trip was still beautiful regardless, and I saw the sunset and the moon rise properly for the first time in years, as their gentle glows caressed each of the ocean waves. It was probably about 11 PM now. I stayed up late to take in the serenity of it all. Little did I know at the time, this was about to become a nightmare. I wish it was just a nightmare. I wanted to stay awake longer, but again, babysitting, I had to put my little sister down for the night. Plus, the ocean rocking the boat in every which way started to take its nauseous toll on me. My parents stayed up for a little while longer with my uncle, chatting about things. I can only imagine it was about his wife's passing. I always knew when the grown-ups were talking because they always spoke in such a faint voice to keep things serious and private, even though I was technically an adult now myself. I don't remember much after that, as I must have passed out within mere moments after getting my sister down. We were sharing a room due to limited space and rooms on the yacht. My parents were with each other in one of the two main rooms. They were on one of those sofas that became a bed. My uncle was in the other room. I remember having this extremely vivid dream. I saw this woman. Honestly, she was the most perfectly looking female figure. Her beauty was indescribable. You could only understand what I'm saying if you saw her too. She was remarkable. She had some sort of aura that felt like she was drawing me in. And then, bang! I'm wide awake. The dream was just getting good. I woke up, swearing I could hear my little sister cry, but she was still fast out. There was, though, this hum. I was almost about to rock my head back to my pillow and go back to sleep before I heard it again. Could I have been dreaming still and just hearing things? Then again, my first thought was maybe a dolphin or a whale. As quickly and as quietly as I could, not to wake anyone on the boat, I got up, creaked the door ajar from the inside of the yacht, and gazed one more time on the endless ocean. Only this time, it was the middle of the night. All stars were visible, no awful light pollution here, and a trickle of the gentle sound of the waves was enough to draw anyone out. I waited for a moment as I opened the door fully and closed it behind me as I stepped out onto the decking of the yacht. With me being the only one up, I was slightly unnerved in case I fell into the ocean and was unable to pull myself back on board. I was never the strongest swimmer, and let's just say my upper body strength is, well, it's non-existent. Despite the beauty, there was an eeriness. The ocean was just a black void at this time of night. You couldn't see too much further in front of you, even with a flashlight. Any wave toppling the boat, any accident could so easily be fatal. My uncle only just got the yacht, and honestly, I don't even know if him driving us all the way out here and anchoring us down in the middle of the pitch black of the ocean, I don't know if that was even legal. The cold breeze began to pick up, and I thought enough was enough now. Time to go back inside. I stand up, turn around to head back to the door, and as I grab the doorknob, again, this wasn't a fish, nor anyone on the boat. Now I was wide awake. I knew for sure that this was the exact same sound that had woken me up. I bolted for the door, but my bare feet just slid on the decking as I fell with a large bump. I scrambled to get up. Honestly, I had no idea what the noise was or why I was in such a frenzied panic, but every fibre of my being told me to get back inside the yacht. This wasn't safe. It was getting closer, much closer. After a few more missteps and trips, I managed to make my way to the door, got inside and locked it. I must have slammed that door louder than I thought I had, but to my surprise, no one got up to see what was going on or even why I was outside. I sprinted back to the bedroom where my sister was, leaped back into my bed and dived under the sheets covering my head. I started to cry. I had a window directly next to my bed so I could actually see outside, but truthfully, I was never going to take a peek out of pure fear of what or who I would see. I cried myself to sleep that night, after who knows how long, and woke up in the morning. Everyone actually seemed to be in a really positive mood and well rested, especially my uncle, which was odd considering his adult conversation with my parents the night before. I never spoke to any of them about what happened. I knew they'd never believe me. I am thinking of telling my cousin about what happened, but I'm uncertain how she would take it. What do you recommend based on what I've told you? Should I tell her? I'm never going out to sea again.